All right, now for more on the coronavirus by the numbers. Social distancing measures are either being lifted or eased in certain parts of the country, and that is causing some concern for many, especially in the healthcare industry. Anjali Kamlani is joining us now for that, and again, the latest on the coronavirus numbers. Good morning, Anjali.
Good morning, Alexis. Yeah, unfortunately, we continue to see, the numbers increase, though we have been starting to see some sort of flattening, if you will, or plateauing of that rate of increase per day. Right now, as it stands, there are 3.2 million cases worldwide, with more than 227,000 deaths, nearing that 228,000 mark. And in the U.S., we know that we surpassed that 1 million mark this week. That continues to climb. Meanwhile, more than 60,000 deaths in the US, and that was a new milestone that we in fact passed yesterday. So really looking at the reopening of the states, and as things like in New Jersey, we heard yesterday from the governor here on Yahoo Finance talking about how state parks and golf courses are going to be reopening. And so with the availability of more spaces to be able to walk into, health experts are in fact worried that people will start getting too comfortable and possibly forget the social distancing measures, which should in fact still be in place. And we're seeing that play out throughout the country, whether you're talking about California, which is already calling, some companies are already calling employees back to work, or looking at more of the, beaches and parks and things like that are going to be open. So it remains to be seen. We have heard about enforcement efforts. We know in New Jersey, we heard about that yesterday, that, State Patrol was going to be up and down, checking out some of these areas. And if in fact there are too many people breaking the rule, the governor will in fact reverse that executive order. So we might see some of those moves as well. It's quite possible, Alexis.
Yeah, it's going to be challenging too, as the weather gets nicer, things warm up, people want to get out of the house. It's definitely going to be challenging. Now, at the same time, I want to touch on Gilead's CEO, who wrote an open letter about their possible treatment for COVID-19, Remdesivir. We saw the market rally yesterday on some positive news regarding a clinical trial for that drug. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so that's actually the third letter that the CEO has written, Daniel O'Day, and he's actually been really measured about his response to any of the, incremental updates that we've been getting about this drug. Every time the market does rally, he just sort of, has this very cautious tone of, we do still need more information and we do still need, to validate this. But he did take a little bit more optimism yesterday, saying that there is finally some positive news, even though it is still early, both in the company-run drug trial on the severe patients, as well as the NIH study as also on severe patients. But that was a placebo-controlled trial. And so the importance of that is basically the industry standard and where you can pull some of the most impactful data and concrete data. And so what we learned yesterday is that the drug is in fact effective. A shorter treatment course is effective, and there is some movement and some progress in patients coming down. So, what the CEO did say was that we are still waiting to see what the end results of this trial are. Meanwhile, they are continuing to dose up. And really important to note, they have already produced enough doses to treat 140,000 patients. And that was on the assumption that patients were going to need a 10-day course. Now that they've seen some effectiveness in a 5-day course treatment, that's doubling the amount of already available production. And they've already produced this at risk and continuing to ramp up doses. So that provides some hope as well once the FDA does in fact authorize the use of this in emergency use situation, Alexis.
Anjali, when it comes to this drug, Remdesivir, would this be for people who are in dire straits, those kinds of patients, or people with mild symptoms? Who would be a candidate for this drug if and when it hits the market?
So there are going to be studies to address both. Currently, the results that we've got are in fact for the more severe, more critically ill patients, and that's where they're doing the focus. Gilead is also expanding its study to include those that are on ventilators, and that hasn't been looked at just yet. So that is where we're looking right now. That's what the results do say is in severe patients, there's been some positive results. Gilead is also doing a company-run study on moderate patients, and so that would include the milder and no symptoms. And so that is where we're going to wait and see, if there is any earlier benefit. We know Dr. Anthony Fauci, who's the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease and also on the White House Coronavirus Task Force yesterday did address this and did say, that there is supposed to be a further look at how this improves in earlier symptoms and earlier patients.
Yeah, it was definitely an optimistic tone from Dr. Fauci yesterday. Anjali Khemlani, thanks for that.